blah, blah. Not so horrible. The sun shines down on another beautiful day in Edinburgh. Edinburgh. Every time I see that word, I'm like, how do you say that? Even though I've heard people say it out loud, I'm like, what? How do you say Edinburgh? Edensborough. Come along on a journey with us to Edensborough.
What is the pronunciation of it?
The pronunciation of it?
Like if you write it down,
Yeah. Keep going.
I-N. We'll use it in a sentence.
My friends and I are going down to Edensborough later today.
Okay, will you give me a definition?
Edensborough, a place where Eden loves to burrow.
Okay, so it's going to be EDINSBURROW.
It's if that's actually what it was, if it was Edensborough, that's what it would be.
You told me it was a place that Eden loved to burrow.
That's true. And that's a correct. That's a ding. And he wins the spelling bee. That's not what we're here to discuss.
We're here to talk about Frank.
We're here to talk.
Frank Reynolds.
That's how we should have started this. Let's start over. Hey, guys. Hey, let's be Frank.
Oh, that is good.
We should have started like that. Damn it.
Or we could have started, hey, friends, let's be Victor.
Hey, friends, let's be... No, I don't know about that.
Hey, friends, let's be
Stein.
Creature.
That's good, too.
Hey, friends, let's be the.
Guys, I've been steining to talk to you about this kind of thing. This is nothing.
Hey, friends, let's be modern Prometheus. This is stupid. Hey, I'm Derek.
I am Isaac, and welcome to That Was Horrible. This is usually a podcast where we do our best at reviewing the worst. And every so often...
we do our best at reviewing the best.
We do our best at reviewing the best, and that's kind of what we're here to discuss. Right. That's pretty good. I like that. Yeah, we're switching up the beat today with another not so horrible.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Where we get to talk about, because like there have been lots of movies we want to get around to talking about. I like doing these episodes.
Yeah, me too.
But
there's more of them.
Every so often we come across one where like we gotta talk.
I mean,
we have lots of thoughts to think.
We, you and me,
yeah,
have been discussing this movie,
yes,
for a long time. Mm-hmm. You have been extra excited.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh,
I'm not currently wearing a hat from said movie we were discussing today
that you got in California. That you drove 10 hours to go see. I'm sitting in the hospital and I get a text from Isaac. Hey, I'm silly boy.
Yeah,
I went to California.
This is the craziest thing. Is like, yeah, I super duper last minute decided I'm gonna drive to go catch like one of the premiere theaters that is currently showing Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein 2025, which we're here to discuss.
That's the movie we're talking about. If you didn't read the title of the episode you clicked on.
But yeah, as I'm doing this, unbeknownst to me, Derek is on his way and chilling in a hospital to have a baby.
I was giving birth. Yeah.
He was giving birth. Yeah, he was father and mother, like a Victor Frankenstein would
or a fish
I guess that's fair.
Or snail? Nope.
No.
Yeah, so Frankenstein's out now. And I wasn't able to catch it in theaters, unfortunately, because of said baby. But I was able to watch it quite a few times. Yes. Not as many times as his eyes.
Just a couple times. Just
times as his eyes.
A few times.
I mean, if I went to Letterboxd right now, I think it's a 6. Is that enough?
That's only what I've logged too. I feel like I don't need everyone to know every time I watch Frankenstein.
See, that's the complete opposite with me. When I rewatch my two favorite movies, La La Land and The Truman Show,
you're like, everyone needs to know.
I've logged them every time since I've gotten Letterboxd. I've logged it,
which is fair, but like I've watched them X amount of times in like a month span of time. Because yours is like every so often, like, you know, it's time for a revisit on this, which I will get eventually. But I'm greatly excited about Frankenstein.
So this is actually an intervention. I'm gonna bring in the camera. So there's a camera there. There's a camera there. There's a camera there.
What are we doing? No, hi guys. Sorry.
So you've watched this movie too many times. There are other movies.
I don't think there are. Okay. It was actually really weird the first time I watched a movie that wasn't Frankenstein. I was kind of finding myself, man, I wish I was watching Frankenstein right now, huh? Damn, that's a good time.
I don't know. I imagine you like, what's a movie? You're watching like Finding Nemo or something. You're like, when does he become a creature?
When does the creature's tale
start?
When
does he start?
But yeah, if you keep up with any of our shenanigans we do on this podcast, you know that Isaac has not been quiet about how excited he is about Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein 2025 because he's my favorite director. Like we talked much about, Derek has Mike Flanagan, right? Would you still say that's your favorite? That's top director for you?
Favorite horror director for sure.
Yeah. And so I similarly have Guillermo del Toro as my favorite. I love The Shape of Water. I love Pan's Labyrinth. I love all of these, even Pacific Rim, which gets some flack sometimes. It's fun for me. I like it. I like it very much. I love seeing big monsters fight big robots. I don't care about stupid plot holes that people want to like poke into the movie. It's a lot of fun.
Why are we even talking about that?
Why are we doing
Why are you
that?
defending it?
No,
it doesn't matter. It's a great movie.
I stand by that.
I swim by it because it's in the water.
That's fair.
But we're not talking about Pacific Rim. We're talking about Frankenstein.
Frankenstein.
So if you don't know how the flow of this works, we're going to talk pretty spoiler-free for the first 10 minutes.
As best we can.
And we'll talk for another 20 minutes-ish on the movie itself. And that's kind of the flow of this. It's short, sweet.
In perfectly spoilery territory. So it's good for you if you were looking like you're curious about the movie. If you're like, oh, should I check this out? Should I not? We'll tell you a little bit about that. And then if you have watched the movie, then we can get into that spoilery territory there at the end, and you can kind of be along in the conversation with us and know exactly what we're talking about and discussing.
I do require you to actually sign a affidavit that you have watched the movie, though.
Yeah,
to get
here's
to
an affidavit
spoiler.
right here. Sign that.
And
thank you.
After David is what that is.
After David. David signed it first.
So yeah, let's just talk about it,
It's
man.
so hard. It's like, how do we...
pretty hard movie.
How do we... Yeah, this movie's so rock hard, solid. It's just, where do you start? Where do you begin? Well, how do we feel beforehand?
And
we
also,
should start there.
Before we begin in that, if you are interested in all things Frankenstein and you like us, Isaac just released his own solo project on our channel called Monsterific, where he goes into the history of the original
1931 Frankenstein.
31 Frankenstein.
One of the many different Frankensteins.
But it's super fascinating if you want to go learn more about the history of that Frankenstein.
It's fun. I delve into that movie specifically. Like, I didn't waste too much time getting into like the original of Mary Shelley's 1818 novel. I touch on it a little bit, but yeah, that one's specifically about the Boris Karloff, James Whale, Frankenstein. If you were curious about that, and those do have connections to this movie. It's Frankenstein, obviously, but Monsieur Guillermo del Toro. I guess we can talk about that for a second.
Is he French?
He's French now.
Did you decide?
You know, he's trying to move to the UK.
That makes sense. I don't want to live here
But
either.
the funniest part about that, he's told his broker, he's like, I need a haunted house. It has to be a haunted house.
I did actually read that.
Yeah.
He's so cookie.
He was on some late night show and he talked about that, where like he will not buy the house if he cannot get haunted in it.
That's funny.
Because apparently he's experienced something where he's heard full on like a ghostly murder happen in like a hotel room, but he didn't see anything. So he was like, I want to be able to see something in this house. So anyway, yeah, planning to move to the UK, which is so funny.
It's just like he's such like a cute little man.
I love him.
And the way he talks,
He's
like
so sweet.
He's like, he. I would just want to see I just want to see a ghost.
He's like a kid. He has this like childlike fascination with it, which makes sense because he's loved monsters and monster movies since he was young, and that just like carried through to his adulthood. So it's so cute when you get to hear him talk about these things. I just love watching and listening to interviews with him. He's just like a kid. He's so excited about this stuff,
and I think that really shines through in his movies, but specifically this movie.
Yeah, because his entire career has been building up to this.
Yeah, he talks about that
every single interview. He talks about how he was 7 years old. He watched the original Frankenstein on like a Sunday after church, and his eyes were opened. He's like, they literally says, Frankenstein, Boris Karloff was the Messiah to me. All of the imagery, the Catholic imagery, like this, they make sense now. This is it.
He literally could have gone two ways. He was like, okay, I can either make movies or I can make humans. He tried to dabble in making humans for a while. That didn't work
go
out.
so well. No.
Then he was like, okay, I'll be a filmmaker.
Okay, I'll be a filmmaker then.
I suck at bringing people back to life. I was talking about this with Emily after the first viewing. I was like, do you think anyone's ever tried?
Yeah, has anyone ever been inspired after has anyone tried to imbue life into something with electricity?
All hail Ed Gein. He
I don't know about that. I don't know if you want to say that on our program.
He dismembered people.
Sure did.
Well, he like robbed graves and stuff. He only actually killed like 2 people. But that doesn't matter. The thing is like he didn't try to reanimate the corpses because he liked them dead. Mm-hmm. And I feel it's
Listen, nobody's doing it because they know that it doesn't go well. They've read through the story of Frankenstein. They're like, this is a bad idea. It's just like how we don't have dinosaur parks because Jurassic Park showed us that's a bad idea.
But I feel, even that though, I feel like in the grand scope of life, somebody out there has got to have been like, I need to bring a body back.
I can try this. I can do this.
They watched Frankenstein and they were like, or they read the book and they're like, this is just an instruction manual.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But it isn't at the same time.
But they could be like, I could be a good dad to the creature.
Yeah.
I could fix him.
What I do love about the creation of the creature in the book is that it is explicitly like it does not detail how they actually put the monster together or like how it is imbued with life. Yeah. Because like I talk about in the Monsterific episode, it's not until like the 1927 play and then the movie from 1931 that they actually go into like, electricity, a big bolt of lightning is what brings the thing to life, right?
Yeah.
Which is neat. I forget where I was going with that, but I don't think anybody's tried that.
That's where you're going with it.
But so this movie is Guillermo del Toro's life project. He sees the movie when he's 7 years old. Life. It's alive. He sees the movie when he's 7 years old. When he's 11, he finally reads the book, and then he's like,
11, electricity.
But he sees that, he's like, oh, this is not the movie at all. And it's kind of cute that like after he read the book, he's like, I want to make this because the 1931 movie wasn't this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to put this to screen.
Yeah, for those who don't know, it is substantially different. And actually, I would argue most adaptations, nothing, even including and through this adaptation of Frankenstein, is not identical to the book. Everything takes its own liberties.
You may have seen this one. I still haven't yet. Kenneth Branagh's Frankenstein.
Oh,
is that?
I have not seen that one.
I haven't seen that one either. But according to what I've heard about it, that one tries to be like almost one-to-one. Yeah, but apparently still not very good because it's Kenneth Branagh and he loves to like boast himself.
What's wrong with Kenneth? There's a lot wrong.
Because he loves to make himself shirtless and sweaty in his Frankenstein movie.
Hey, at least Oscar Isaac was naked in this movie.
He did show. We got a little bit of Oscar Isaac body, so there's something for you. If you haven't seen the movie yet, you want to see more of Oscar Isaac, you get a little bit of that.
I'm sure I haven't tried this, but I'm sure Isaac has. If you pause it at the right moment, you might see a little dip,
just a little, tip. just like frame by frame. It's on Netflix now, so like you can do this as much as you want.
I personally haven't, but I'm sure some people have paused it and zoomed in.
Some people have
enhance.
Who knows? Who knows who these people are? You know, I say Google enhance, and it doesn't know what that means, and so I'm getting nothing out of it.
Google in pants.
Google unpants. But anyway. So this movie, the point I'm trying to make is like it is his passion project. Yeah. Everything, and he says this, every single movie he's made has been building up towards Frankenstein. He even talks in lengths about how not Nightmare Alley, Crimson Peak, he says was a dress rehearsal. Full stop.
That makes
Crimson
sense.
Peak was a dress rehearsal for Frankenstein if he could never make it.
I appreciate that because Crimson Peak is very gothic horror, and a lot of the architecture and the vibes.
Yeah.
And even the costumes in Crimson Peak fit that same motif.
But yeah, so I was personally very excited talking about how we were feeling going into this movie. I was excited because I see this man as a person who has boasted quite a bit about how he's like, this has been my life's project. He's delved so much time and effort into the research, the study, not only of just Frankenstein as a story and every other iteration of it, also Mary Shelley and her life, her biographies, everybody that was around in the creation of the story of Frankenstein, Lord Byron, Percy Shelley, all those kinds of things. So I'm like, I love him and I've loved the things that he does. I trust him. Full stop for this movie, like for what's going to happen.
Well, I remember when this was first announced, and you sent me like the screenshots.
Yeah,
of like
it's happening.
It was like drawings of the picture of him holding the little like vial thing that we now know is like a battery, basically. Yeah. And you were like, maybe it will actually happen. And it was that point, like it got announced like casting.
Yeah.
And it was still like a far off dream.
Because that's the thing, because he's talked about it through his entire career. He's not quiet about the fact that he's wanted to make Frankenstein. Yeah. So I'm like, is it really, are we ever going to get to see this? Yeah. And then Netflix made it happen.
Yeah.
I guess execs at Netflix basically came to him and they're like, what are your bucket list movies? He said Pinocchio and Frankenstein.
Yep.
Two of the greatest myths in his opinion.
And now he's made a... spoiler alert, masterpiece.
Now he's done it. So yeah. So let's talk that. So you were saying how did you feel beforehand? You trust the man? You felt like
so I trusted the man a lot. I was in an interesting spot going into this movie because I obviously just had a child. I was about 3 weeks. I was about 2 to 3 weeks into having a child, my first child, and so I had to watch it at home. And I'm very tired all the time because of
what time did you watch this movie?
I watched it at like 1 a.m. or something.
How long is this movie, Derek?
2.5 hours.
It's 2.5 hours long.
Listen, but I had to watch it the day
I love.
Like the first day I could, right? There was just no... we weren't able to go to the theater. Actually, we had tickets to see it the week my daughter was born.
Because, she was set to come out a bit later in life.
Yeah.
But it kind of made it so
ironically, the day it released on Netflix was her due date.
That's wild.
So we ended up watching it the day that she was supposed to be
Interesting.
Here.
It all
and
it's a circle.
And we're gonna use that movie to teach her everything about life.
It all comes around. But so you would watch this late at night.
No, so anyway, and so I don't know. I was nervous. So
same.
My wife has a huge history with Frankenstein. She wrote a thesis on
written papers on it.
We're big fans of the National Theater Live Broadway production, the recorded production.
Really good production.
With Johnny Lee Miller and
Benedict Cumberbatch.
Where they were both cast as both the creature and the monster.
Yeah, they flop.
I mean, the creature and the creature and the monster.
The creature and the monster.
The creature and Frankenstein, and then they would swap roles.
And it's such a good performance that people who have seen one or the other always say, "Oh, I couldn't see it the other way. Yeah. I couldn't see Benedict playing the monster, and likewise, I couldn't see it the other way." Right?
Yeah,
it's interesting.
Then you watch both of them. Because I've seen both of them multiple times now. It's been a tradition since it came out.
That's like your Halloween tradition to watch it.
And now I'm like, I could see them both either way. But I'm going to be honest, Johnny Lee Miller is better at both roles. So I would like to see him in both roles at the same time.
I think Benedict is just a little overhyped as an actor.
He's great. He's got a good voice.
Yes.
Anyway, we're not here to talk about that. I'm just trying to give you... So I went into this movie for the first time with some nerves.
Mm-hmm.
I was worried about my perception. I was worried about it living up to the hype, because at this point it had been in theaters for 2 weeks.
That was my biggest worry for you, because I saw it like a week or so before you could, right?
You saw it before the hype started.
Yes, and I was nervous because like you asked me, so what'd you think about it? And I just want to say, I'm like, it was good. I enjoyed it. I don't want to build this hype because it can't live up to things like that. We've talked about that a lot on our podcast, where we're like,
destroys everything.
Hype destroys things, right? Because then it builds this like preconceived idea in your head, and nothing that is created can ever live up to your fabricated reality, right? Even if it is a masterpiece, right?
Absolutely.
Like, so I was worried about that because you were coming in so late and the internet was so abuzz.
Oh, yeah.
Especially since I think the people that went to see it in theaters were very much like fans of Del Toro or fans of Frankenstein. So like obviously for the most part, they're going to love it and going to hype it up. I do feel like any and all backlash about the film came out once it was more widely accessible on Netflix.
For sure.
So yeah, anyway, hype was built up a lot. Yeah, which was scary.
There was an insane amount of hype. And I had a few friends and you weren't the only one seeing it multiple times.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't mean to burst your bubble. But I had like 3 or 4 friends on Letterboxd who were logging it time after time. 5 stars, 5 stars.
That's a feat because it's 2.5 hours long.
You had to find a theater near you.
It's not an easy thing to go and watch. So like that does speak to it in volumes.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't need to go into great details, but that's where I was at, right? There was a lot going on. I was tired. I was worried. I was worried about other things. Like there was so much happening and so much hype around it that it was hard to focus.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I'll be completely honest with you too, because like I guess I was a little misleading. I was excited. I trusted Guillermo del Toro, but like we had mentioned, I drove very far to go see this movie. I drove from where we live in Utah all the way to Los Angeles. Yeah. It was a 10-hour drive. And so what did I do on that drive? I listened to the audiobook all the way through. Literally like finished the last chapter as I was walking up to the theater. Oh, that's awesome. And so I was fresh off of a reread of the book. And so I was very nervous because, like, is it going to live up? It's Guillermo del Toro saying it's the movie he's always wanted to make. Are we actually going to get a 100% book accurate thing? So I was very stuck on the book and what I thought it was going to be. Yeah. And so I guess we can talk about how we were feeling after our first viewing of it.
Yeah.
Because I left the theater. I did love it. I did like it a lot, but I was very hung up because I had this idea that since he has loved it and talked so much about how he holds it so dear to him, I was expecting a like 100% book accurate movie, and it wasn't. It is not that. It is, what I will say to that effect is I think it is one of the closest in any adaptation we've got to like the heart and the spirit and meaning of the book.
Oh yeah.
But as far as like actual events, 1-to-1, there's some significant changes in the movie.
Yeah. And when I finished the movie, I felt very similarly. I was like, that was a great movie.
Yes.
But I wasn't feeling blown away.
Mm-hmm. But that's the thing. I think I was with you where I'm like, I was so focused on what it could have been or what it should have been based on the book. I was having a hard time accepting what it is. Like I was focused on what it wasn't instead. And I was having a hard time connecting with it that first time that I watched it.
Like, and we can just address this here. The costumes, the music, the set design.
Lord.
Absolutely
breathtaking.
Out of this world.
Like I know a lot of people are talking already about like we need to get the Oscar buzz going, and I always have a hard time like accepting any horror something is going to get any Oscar buzz. I just don't want to get my hopes up for that.
This is going to be in there.
I definitely think so.
At least for set design.
At least for things like that, or like for the sets, the costume, the music, those things. I do feel like it actually does stand a chance to win these kinds of things.
Yeah, it deserves it. I mean, everything in there is practical.
It is
gorgeous.
There is
the smallest amount of CGI.
God, and I love that. There's if you go and you watch it on Netflix, there's like a little mini documentary where they talk about everything that went into the practicalness of it. How many of those sets were completely built up? They built an entire goddamn Navy vessel, this whole ship.
In a parking lot.
Yeah, in a parking lot in Toronto, and just covered it around with snow and stuff. It was set up on this gimbal so it actually could move and rock back and forth. It's like
it's insane.
The amount of work that went into this is just astounding. And like that's why I love Del Toro, because he demands that this is how things go. I don't want a completely green screen set. We will use that as minimally as possible. He talks about, he's like, I want to walk on set. I want to hear people chiseling into stone. I want to hear carpenters hammering into sets. And they did. And it's like the work that went into it. My God. God, Del Toro, it's beautiful.
And you can feel it too in the movie. You feel the world, right?
Yes.
It just comes to life. And that was my biggest takeaway from my first viewing was like, this is a world that exists.
Well, I think that's something that is so good about having so much practical is like it gives a world for your actors to really interact with. It's not a Marvel set where it's like, okay, Tom Holland, chase this tennis ball and you don't know what you're actually fighting, right? So you get to see and feel and live in this world, which brings out such great performances as well.
It is the exact opposite of the new Fantastic Four movie where there were actors in that movie that never set foot outside of a green screen.
Crazy, right? But like, I think it is so much better when you have those kinds of things. So yeah, it is beautiful, visually stunning masterpiece. It is. I was talking with some friends about it afterwards. It is literally like it's like literature straight to page. It looks and feels like you were reading a book, and it's so gorgeous for that. I love that.
It really does. I like that. I like that description a lot.
Yeah, it's like literature brought to screen in the best way.
I feel like if Mary Shelley were alive today, she would have been over the moon. I mean,
I sure hope so.
Probably with all of the adaptations because she didn't live through anything except the play. So like, right? There was a play. Was
there was a play like literally early enough that she could have seen it, which is crazy.
Yeah, but then after that, it was all
which immediately took a lot of liberties with it and made a lot of changes to it.
Gotta love it.
Yeah, but so speaking of changes, Guillermo del Toro. The first time I watched it, I didn't necessarily have issues. I just like had questions about like why these things were changed and like what they serve to the purpose. But I think so many of them do lead to the point he's making. It's
for sure.
It's deeply in his voice that he's doing. I love what he says about it because he says like in your life you find your song and you have to sing it in your voice. And so that's what he says. Frankenstein is his song in his voice. And I think that was my biggest thing.
I like that.
After the first time I watched it, I was thinking about like through Mary Shelley's voice. I'm like, Mary Shelley has told the story. Lots of other people have told the story. This is Guillermo del Toro's. That's why it's not just Frankenstein 2025. It is Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein, right? It is through his voice and his study. And it's like many of his projects that he's done, it is a father-son story. And that's a deeply personal thing for him, right?
Yeah.
And that is like one of the biggest messages they really push through in some of the changes, like with Victor and his father. It's a completely different story than in the book. In the book, him and his dad are kind of tight. Like they're not at odds with each other. And this one, not so much, which we'll get more into in spoiler territory.
Yeah. I mean, the changes, we don't need to list the changes really. That's something you can go look into if you want to. I mean, but there is, I think the biggest change, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. I think, there are two things that I think are the biggest changes. One character's age changes drastically and is a bigger character.
Yep.
And then there is an entire character fabricated into this story. And on my first viewing, I could not figure out the purpose of his character at all. And even after finding out his story and his backstory and everything. Yeah. And this is Christoph Waltz's character.
Yeah, I was going to say, we can say it's Christoph Waltz's Heinrich Hollander in this movie.
Heinrich Hollander.
I love Christoph Waltz's voice. Can we just say
his high-pitched little...
His little, like, I think he's... Austrian is where he's from. That's where his accent is from. But it's just like he has such an iconic voice.
Yeah, he's great.
But yeah, his character doesn't exist in the book even a little bit.
And he's a fantastic actor, and his writing was great.
Yeah, he does a good job playing it. There's nothing wrong with his portrayal, but it does make you wonder, like, why is he here? Yeah. Like in this, why was he fabricated for this?
Yeah,
when there's lots in the book that already exists. Because that's another thing is like I loved the movie. Obviously, I think it's clear that I very much enjoyed it. But it's like there's so many things I'm like, oh, I wish we could have got this. I wish we got this. It's 2.5 hours. We don't have enough time to get everything from the book.
And this is me coming fresh off watching One Battle After Another, which is a 3-hour long movie.
Yeah.
I think they should have just made Frankenstein 3 hours.
Honestly, that's another thing is I'm like, I think audiences will go along with that. Yeah. People do, if the movie is good, like you say,
3 hours.
Wicked's that long, right? Like people will sit through a 3-hour movie. Yeah. Like it's not unheard of. People like are not resistant to this.
Because I mean, okay, so I have now watched the movie twice.
Yep.
On my second viewing, I was much more awake, and I had a little bit more of a realistic expectation for what I was going to, and my opinion did shift, and now I look at it as a masterpiece, and it is I was
because you're feeling heavily conflicted at first.
I was pretty heavily conflicted
because every time you watch a movie, immediately go to Letterboxd and you'll like usually immediately give it your star rating. It sat there for a minute. I remember because I watched it because I was nervous. I was like, I really hope Derek likes this movie,
and then I didn't give it a star rating for like 2 days.
And I was like, oh god.
I don't know. I felt weird. I was like, I expected it to be the best movie I'd ever seen in my life, right? And you should never, ever, ever go into a movie with that expectation.
No, right? Because it's very subjective. It's very personal, right? Like what it means to you, how it meets you. Some movies don't hit a person quite that way, right?
And I'm under the belief that if you watch a movie it should speak to you immediately, and that should be your opinion. You shouldn't have to watch a movie twice to get that. And I figured out why I needed to watch this movie twice.
Yeah.
It's because of the personal connection that me and my wife have to this story, right? There's so much of our lives that have had this story in it.
Frankenstein is big to you guys.
Exactly. So like, well, and it's big to you too, but it's like, it's that mindset of like, it's not that I had to watch this movie twice. It's that I had to watch a different movie. Right, I had to watch it in a different mindset.
Yes.
I had to get the expectations out of the way so I could appreciate the movie for what
it's just like I was saying, right? The first time I was hung up on everything it wasn't, and everything that had changed, and that is not the book that I was used to. And then the second time I was able to appreciate Guillermo's vision and version of this movie because it's a different thing.
Yeah.
But I do feel like it hits a lot of what is important and amplifies a lot of like really good emotional beats in the themes and stuff of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein.
And I've talked to a few people now about it, and I do think that for the majority of people watching this movie that don't have such a deep connection to the story, they're one viewing, they're like, oh, okay, no, that was a fantastic movie.
They don't have that like barrier between them, right? Like I have to get through, it has to meet these expectations.
There was a fifth wall.
Yes.
I had to
We got the fourth wall, then there's a fifth wall.
to break
it's crazy.
the fifth wall. But yeah, now on my second viewing, I have a greater and deeper appreciation for the characters, which in the first time I felt so distant from them. And again, that was probably the exhaustion. So
that's true. That definitely plays into it. But yeah, let's talk about so there are some wonderful performances in here, right? And I think we can talk about that a little bit. I was wrong. I was wrong, and I'm so happy to be wrong. I love Andrew Garfield. I love him as a performer, as an actor.
Oh, I see.
And when they first announced this movie, the two actors that were attached to it was Oscar Isaac as Victor, and that ended up happening. Andrew Garfield was originally supposed to be the creature. And I was so excited for that. I was I was over the moon. I thought that was going to be really fun because I think Andrew Garfield is a great actor.
Yeah.
And then because of the strikes that had happened, scheduling didn't work out. He had to drop the project. Then we get Jacob Elordi coming in. I have never personally watched anything that has him in it. You've seen Saltburn.
I've seen Saltburn.
You've seen Saltburn. I know he's in Euphoria. He was in, I think, The Kissing Booth as well. He was in a lot of stuff. I had like almost no faith in him. I think it was because I was so upset about Andrew Garfield. What's that? What's that face?
Don't worry about it.
Are you just thinking about Saltburn again?
No, I was thinking about The Kissing Booth. What the fuck is that?
It's a movie. But so I was a little bit like blinded because I was upset it wasn't Andrew anymore. And so like I hadn't seen him in anything. I was like, the pretty boy from Euphoria, is this really going to be the guy?
The guy who got his semen sucked out of a tub from Saltburn?
God, that's so gross. But so like I had a lot of doubts about him playing the creature. And then the first time that I was like, maybe this guy can do this was when he was actually on SNL and they had him do like the little chat before he like walks onto the stage. And I saw his frame in the doorway. Dude's massive.
Yeah, he's like 20 feet tall.
Gigantic. Yeah. And it was in that instance that I was like, okay, I trust Guillermo. And I know he wouldn't cast anybody that couldn't do this role. So I'm just gonna let this happen and see what happens. My God. Now it's at a point where I literally cannot imagine Andrew Garfield playing the role. Yeah. I cannot picture anybody else doing it. His performance is spectacular. It is like star material.
Yeah, he definitely got into the mind of the creature.
Yeah.
The way he moves and like embodies the creature. I think honestly, I think I was trying to find something I didn't like with it. Mm-hmm. The only thing I don't care for is his voice sometimes.
Really? Oh, I love the voice.
But even then, everything about his creature is just so captivating.
Works. And I think it comes from their approach to it. I mean, he talks about how Guillermo del Toro gave him like books and things to read and study up on for the portrayal. One of the first things he gave him was like a baby developmental book.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, read this. Like, this is what you need to know.
Well, that's something that they talk about in the National Theater live production too, is they both watched a toddler walk.
Yeah.
And that's how they did it. And you can feel that in Jacob Elordi's presentation too.
He also did something really interesting where he like studied learning Japanese Buto dance.
Oh, yeah.
Which is, have you looked into that?
Yeah, it's crazy.
I've heard him say that a lot. It was literally last night. I was like, what is that actually? It's disturbing.
Yeah,
people
creepy.
Completely covered in like white paint and just like very unattractively like contorting and moving their bodies in very disturbing ways. It's like, it's a dark art form and it's really, really cool. Yeah. And you can really see it come through in his performance, in his portrayal of like a newly minted body, a new soul, practically a baby, right?
Yeah.
Like, and I really love that was the approach that they had for it. And I love that Jacob Elordi talks and he's like, this monster is like more myself than I am. And I'm like, that's I love that. I love their vision and their connection to it. I love it so much. But once we get into spoiler territory, we can talk more on the specifics of like Elordi's performance. Everybody's talking about him, and I get why. I understand why he's like the highlight of the movie.
He was fantastic. My biggest complaint about the movie is that there wasn't enough of him.
Truly, I think because the movie, like we can tell, it's done like in parts. You get different people's perspective and stories, and I do feel like for me, my favorite chunk was the creatures. The whole saga, and I love his stuff and his portrayal all the time with him. I would have loved to see even more time with the creature.
We only get like a half hour ish of his story, and we get an hour of Victor Frankenstein's story, which is also great. And Oscar Isaac,
worlds collide.
Oscar Isaac's portrayal of Victor is fucking terrible, but also
it's so
good.
But so good because of that, right? Yeah. Because like if you know the story of Frankenstein, Victor sucks.
He's an asshole,
He's
man.
not a good guy. He's not the hero of this story even a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Like but he does such a good job. And I've talked with people about how he is so good for the role too because he is so charming.
Yeah.
And so it's hard to hate him, but even then, even through that, still, he's so despicable as a character.
Well, he'll do something that makes you like him again. Like, there's a part after the creature is created where he's like kind of being a dad for a minute.
So heartbreaking.
And then he chains him up. Yeah. And you're like, oh, okay, so you're a shit.
So you're a shit, huh? God damn. Like, he does such a good job, but it is so apparent that Guillermo wrote it for him because they met not about Frankenstein. They were talking over like Cuban food. Guillermo had him over. They were talking. They sat and talked about their relationship with their fathers, and that's when Guillermo looks at him. He goes, I think you need to be my Victor. And so then he started writing the part for him.
Yeah.
And so like it shines through the entire thing. Like it couldn't be anybody else.
Through.
It's really good.
I think he had him get naked to see if he wanted him to do the naked scene.
Yeah. You really hung up on the one time he was naked in this movie.
I'm not. I just brought it up. This is the 2 times I've talked about that.
They're allowed to slut out Oscar Isaac, and I'm here for it.
Everybody
fine.
Does. Everybody sluts out Oscar Isaac.
He's gorgeous. I loved the costumes for it because Guillermo had talked about how he's like, it's a period piece, but I don't want it to be like pastel colors and washed out. We're saturating this to all hell. Yeah. Because I think something that Guillermo is so good at is making like a fairy tale. And I do feel like this is like a fairy tale kind of Frankenstein adaptation. For sure. I love that. It's heightened, just a bit.
What I call... So... Hunchback of Notre Dame is also a monster man story, right?
What makes a monster? What makes a man?
And it's interesting in this version of Frankenstein, I compared the two a lot more.
Yeah.
So like you have Elizabeth, who's essentially Esmeralda.
Yeah.
Who you have Victor, like, well, I guess this is kind of spoiler territory, but he's like lusting over her, right? And
lusting over his own wife? Just kidding. She's not that in this one.
Spoilers.
A little bit of a change from the book.
And then he has William, who's now like Jayon, not Jayon. He's the whatever his name is. Anyway,
Phoebus.
I liked looking at this movie from that angle.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. No, it is cool the comparisons you can make to those kinds of things. But yeah, so you've got Mia Goth is also in it as well.
I was trying to segue to her.
Her character is quite different. What I do love, because they change her quite a bit in the book, she's kind of a nothing character. She's kind of, I think her biggest purpose, I guess spoiler for the book here, is that she serves as like a character that is lost in Victor's life, and that is a deep meaning to the man, to that character, right? Yeah. But other than that, she doesn't actually do a lot. She has much more agency in this one. Yeah. And I loved that Guillermo spoke on this. He's like, I want to embody a personification of Mary Shelley in this because she shares her curiosity, her capacity to question things, to stand up to man, and her knowledge about the world and the surrounding, her knowledge of man, I suppose.
I didn't know that. I like that.
Yeah, so that's his kind of thing. He's like, I wanted her to feel like Shelley herself.
Yeah.
Because she stands up for things. She's a bit more of a feminist icon in this rendition of the book, She doesn't sit idly by and let things happen for her. She is her own person.
I like that a lot. I love that. I didn't know that he had done that, but I totally read it.
But I liked her in this movie.
I liked her too.
I personally, people go nuts for Mia Goth. I've never really felt that way.
Yeah, she's kind of just there.
I thought she did really well in Pearl. I liked her in Pearl a lot. Maxine, not so much, but I don't think that was her fault.
That was the movie.
No.
But like this, I don't know. I did like her character, but I didn't really get a lot of her.
Yeah.
I would say, I feel like, all right. So devil's advocate here, like Mia Goth was great, but I think one of the issues with the movie, and honestly, the issue with the movie, and it's so hard to find an issue with something so fantastic, but it's that there were too many characters,
you
and
think?
part of that is with the addition of Christoph Waltz's character. I do appreciate why he is there. I do like his character.
Yeah.
I enjoy it, but I think to fit this all into a tight package, we needed to keep it simpler.
Yeah, well, because it's like we've talked about how like it's a lot of book to try to fit in there, and even in 2.5 hours we couldn't get everything that we wanted, right?
No.
And so while I do like, I don't mind the addition of Harlander, and I can understand the reasoning for why he exists in it. It is kind of one of those things where like he was made for this movie, and so as a result of that, it does take time away from other things we could have had, right?
Well, and then even him, I mean, even talking about William, Victor's little brother, like,
because that's what I was going to say. Like, they did kind of simplify the cast. Henry Clerval doesn't exist in the story at all. He's kind of taken over by William as an adult now, right?
Yeah, that's true. I just like, I feel like with all of those, you get a little stretched thin, and what you end up with is a fantastic movie that needed a little bit more time with the creature and needed a little bit more time with Elizabeth, because I really liked her performance and I liked what she was here, but I didn't get enough. I was like, okay, no, I like where this is going. Oh, it's ripped away from me.
That was one thing I did actually have a thought about with Elizabeth, because we're getting a little bit into spoilers here, talking about Elizabeth.
Just shift to spoilers.
Yeah, I suppose.
If you like anything that is media, go see this movie.
There's a reason people are boasting about it. It is a very, very good time. Even people who are not fond of horror. I think that's another thing I want to mention too. Guillermo, before this movie came out, kind of made a bit of a point to be like, it's not a horror movie. And I'd agree. Like, it has its roots in horror. The story is so important to horror. There are definitely scary things about it. But like at its heart, it's like a family melodrama more than it's like a horror movie, capital H horror, right?
I would agree with that. There are some scenes of terror that would be uncomfortable for some people. So
no, for sure. It's not for everybody, but however, we have our friend Emma, right? Who is not super into horror. She does not typically love watching things that are very, very scary to her. She loves this movie enough that she like wants to watch it a second time. Like it really does appeal to much more than just the horror fans.
It just has a couple moments of triggering, but that's
absolutely.
in a lot of movies.
Which I warned him about too after the first time I saw it. I'm like, these bits, it goes kind of hard sometimes. But yeah, we can talk about that in our consensus here at the end. But
Spoilers!
So big thumbs up from me.
Big thumbs up for me.
Yeah, so definitely check it out. And then let's get into the what section?
Spoilers!
Spoilers. So we'll probably bounce around a lot. So let me get back to what I was saying before. Elizabeth in this one is not Victor's wife. She is now his brother, who is older now. He's an adult. He's her betrothed. And so that's a whole new story there. But she has like this whole relationship and connection to the monster. Yeah. And my only gripe about that is they make that a big, big deal. They have this deep, deep connection. I wanted at least like one more scene to solidify the connection between them.
Yeah, it gets ripped away from you so quick.
Because you have the first sequence, she meets him all on her own. She hears him down in the basement. She goes and finds him. They share this moment. Then there's another moment later. She sneaks away. He gives her the leaf, which is such a beautiful. I love that sequence there.
Oh, beautiful.
And those are pretty much the only times we see them together. And then the next time we see them, she greets him and embraces him. And then she dies and he takes her away to this death. And she's talking about how beautiful it is to die with your eyes looking upon me, which is gorgeous poetry. Love it. But I'm like, I do not feel quite so connected with them because I don't feel like I've had enough time developing their connection.
Yeah, absolutely. And that, I guess that's what my point that I'm trying to make as a quote unquote devil's advocate is. I guess the complaint could literally just be, I want more.
Yeah.
Right?
But which I guess is a good complaint to have.
It is, but also not, because it did strip away some things that I think were really, really fantastic about this movie. Like, we get so much goddamn Victor. And Victor's great. Don't get me wrong. I love him. I want more of him. Honestly, I hate him. I love him. He pissed me off so bad. There were multiple times I looked over at Emily with tears in my eyes about something he was doing. And I was like, as a father, I'm like, why is he doing this? Why is he treating his son so poorly? Yeah. And every time he said the word "it" to talk about the creature is a great example.
I love that. I love when what is it? Victor refers to it as an it, and Elizabeth asks him it. He goes, it. Like, he's so, it's just not a thing. And there's even a moment like he says to the creature, he says, in you I've created something truly horrible. And he says, someone. You've created someone. I am not an it. And that's the thing. He never sees him as a being, as a thing. It isn't it. It is a plaything.
Till the end. Which, I don't know. I wanted more creature though. Like, I wanted to see the creature go through that development. It happens so fast. It almost feels like a Rocky style montage where like you have these moments where this creature's like learning humanity and learning the difference between monster and man, and he's watching the wolves tear apart the sheep, and you have that
God,
beautiful
can I say,
line.
I love that moment there where he says
too.
the what is it? The hunter does not hate the wolf does not hate the sheep, but
how it
violence felt inevitable between them.
That was beautiful.
There's so many good lines in this one. I literally got chills when he said that.
Yeah.
And he basically says, like, such a profound thought for him to have as a man who's just like learning life and everything, to see this violence between man to hunter to sheep. And he's like, I believe this is the way of the world. It will hunt you down and hate you for just being what you are.
Yeah.
Fuck, that's so good.
It's really, really good. I mean, but I wanted more of that. You know what I mean? Like, I wanted to live in that. I wanted to live in the cottage with the old man, and I wanted to see his
Such
journey.
a good sequence.
Like, it just felt like so stripped away.
I guess so. But what more do you need from that? Like, I feel like we got a lot. Like, what else do you need? I feel like they did a great job at showing his journey and also connecting him with the man more than he does in the book as well.
That's true.
But I like, theirs was one that I did not feel like I was lacking anything as far as their connection. I loved him and DeLacy is his name, the blind hermit.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
That connection was great.
I loved it. No, I really do. But like, I don't know. Me personally, I don't feel like I needed much more from that sequence. I got what I needed out of it. But I could never complain with more creature. I could never complain with that. Because he's so great.
I guess I'm too hung up on the creature. My main point is I feel like there were too many threads, and I wanted a more consistent like story beats. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
It's hard to explain.
It's hard to put into words.
It's really hard to put
That's
into
another
words.
thing. Derek's like, are you excited to record this episode today? I'm like, no, I have too many thoughts and I don't know how to articulate them.
Because at the end of the day, I loved the movie.
Yeah.
Hands down. I mean, it's at least my number 2 movie of the year.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty set on that. And I'll watch it again. And I think everyone should watch it. And I guess maybe because it is such a monumental thing, that's why I'm so conflicted on some of these things. Why I wanted more, I guess it can never, we can say this about a lot of movies, but it can never fit the picture you want of something in your head, right? It will never perfectly fit into that box. And you just have to kind of like resign yourself to that and be okay with what you have.
And that's the thing. And that's kind of what I had to like come to accept afterwards. I'm like, this is what it is. And I love it for what it is, because what it is a masterpiece that has a lot. And there's lots of things we can want from movies, but I still love what it has and what it has given us.
Like
and milk, lots of milk. So yeah, let's talk about Victor and his creature. I love how deep we get into like not only between a creator and its creation, but of a father and his son.
Yeah.
Like that is a deep thing here.
I had never made that connection before.
No, me either. Like I didn't really think, because like obviously it makes sense. Like your parents created you.
Yeah, it makes
sense.
But
when I think of the story of Frankenstein, I don't think, he's his father, you know?
Yeah.
But it's so heartbreaking to go from, in the book, Victor creates the creature. He thinks it has failed. It shows up to him at the bottom of his bed, right? And they do recreate that sequence in this movie. And I love that in the book, immediately Victor fucks off. And he's like, I'm scared of this thing. This is an abomination. I'm running away from it. What is so much more heartbreaking in this one is we do actually see a brief sequence where he is a sweet father to him. And he shows him the sunlight. He is so proud of his creation. He's like, oh, look at this beautiful thing. Look, it's the sunlight. He teaches us his name and he says, Victor, it's his first words. That fucks me up, especially since there's a long stretch of the movie. It's the only word he knows. He's like a baby. It's the only word he has learned in his beautiful portrayal of the creature from Jacob Elordi. All he says is Victor. It's all he uses, right? And he's annoyed with that. And I think then that's such a great connection between him and his relationship with his father, because we see in the past, his father tells him, he's like, you bear my name and with it my reputation. Like, I pray you remember that. He sees Victor as an extension of himself, as an accessory, not as his son. Right.
Yeah.
And I think there's a whole thing about like circles and those imagery in Frankenstein and a lot of Guillermo del Toro movies. But like, it's a thing. It is a cyclical nature, right? It is history repeating itself over and over again. Victor, Baron Frankenstein was this way to Victor. Victor is the same way to the creature. The creature is the only one who breaks the cycle by the end of it, right? But I really love that Victor is so frustrated with him and only using the name Victor. And it's Elizabeth that brings it to his attention. Maybe that word means the world to him. And that's what fucked me up when I watched it the first time.
Though in my most recent Letterboxd review of the movie, I wrote my favorite line in the entire movie down. So at the end of the film, the when Victor finally comes to terms with the shit that he's been. You know, he has the moment of perception, right? That's the whole point of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein is perception, right? That's why the story is told in the way that it's told.
Yes.
And you can go read the book and understand what I mean.
Yeah. Which I also like, just to interject a little bit, I love that Victor starts the story by saying, some of what I tell you is fact, some of it is not, but it is all true. Immediately declares himself as like an unreliable narrator.
But also,
it's his perspective.
That's what I was just going to say. It's his perspective. And then it's not until he hears the creature's perspective that he sees the creature as a human, as he sees him as his son.
Yes.
And he says something at the end. He says, one of his last lines in the entire movie is, say it, how you said it in the beginning when it meant the world to you.
That fucked me up. Like that, yeah. I was blubbering. I was crying. Yeah. Because what I had a point that I wanted to make about this. It is so goddamn beautiful because they do change the ending in it, right? Because in the book, Victor dies and then the creature shows up and like kind of takes him away. We don't have this moment of like them talking to each other and this forgiveness between the two of them. And I really, really love that scene. Oh, this really broke my heart. I only saw one interview that talked about this. Oscar Isaac was on set the day that they were filming that last scene there between the creature and Victor. And for some reason, he comes to Guillermo del Toro and he says, this line right here, I'm just going to skip it. Like, we can just go on further than this. And Guillermo stops him and he says, I need you to say this line. He's like, my father isn't around anymore. I need to hear this.
Ooh.
And that was like, fuck, this is so, like, that is so impactful. Every time I've watched it, I don't know what line he's trying to talk about right there in that last sequence of him giving him forgiveness. He says so many good lines in that bit. You know, he's like, forgive yourself into existence. You know, if you cannot die, what recourse do you have but to live? And I love that.
He has the movie memorized.
I do, because these lines hit me so hard. I love them so much.
They're so good.
But that last scene there is so beautiful. I love that line specifically though, when he says, like, say my name the way you said it in the beginning when it meant everything to you. Like, that is so heartbreaking for him to see that in him and for the creature to give him that forgiveness, because Victor never gave that to his father. No. He's like, in a way, he is better than him. He's like, I can do this thing. I can forgive. It's just like when he was in the cabin with the blind hermit, right? Yeah. He says, forgive and forget. This is the way of man, a true mark of wisdom, that kind of stuff, right? Yeah. And he does that. He's like, I have such rage within me and I need to just let this go. I need to not hold on to this and carry this burden with me forever, right? Yeah. Which, God, I love it. Can we just talk about some good lines that they have in this movie?
Sure.
Because I love them to bits. I love when the creature is approaching, because he comes to Victor and he wants him to make him a companion, right? Yeah. He's accepted this world is terrible. The only way he's going to be able to live a quote unquote happy life is to have someone like him, someone to share this world with him as a fellow monster, right? He comes to him and requests this creature. And in this adaptation, Victor says no, because in the book he does agree for a minute. He gets along with the process of making a bride and then eventually tears her apart because he's like, I can't bring another monster into the world, blah, blah. But so this confrontation scene here I really love. But it is the moment, the flip for Jacob Elordi's creature, where he's like, if you are not to award me love, then I shall indulge in rage, and mine is infinite. Fuck, that's good.
That's really good.
I love that he throws him across the room.
Hulk smashes fucking Victor.
It's so good. Can we talk, I guess, a little bit? I'll interject with the lines that I love so much. I love that when Guillermo approached Oscar Isaac about this, he says, you have to be okay with a character who kind of becomes the villain by the end of it, right?
Yeah.
And I love that when you start, he's our main narrator. We're getting it from his perspective. He doesn't necessarily paint himself in the worst light, even though it does kind of come through in the story. And I love that the very first scene we see the monster, and he is like at his most monstrous.
Yeah.
He is this hulking beast. He roars like a lion.
Roars.
I love it. He's tearing people apart. Like,
something I got from that too is I think that the reason his roar is so much more prominent there is because at that point we're at the perspective of the sailors.
Yeah.
We're at the perspective
this is a beast.
They hear a creature, so whatever sounds he's making are significantly more wolf-like.
Yes, and
more
terrifying to them. They're trying to shoot him down and he just doesn't go down. They cannot understand this monster that is approaching them here, right? Like, it is so cool that I love that he shows up as like this big monstrous thing that is tearing into people. He's terrifying. And then these two stories kind of flip by the end of it. You see the journey and what the creature has gone through. So by the end, you're completely on his side. You want nothing but the best for him. So he kind of becomes the hero by the end of it. And like, likewise, you see the story of what Victor goes through and like where he ends up and kind of, becomes the monster by the end of it.
Well, and then in the end, with him walking away and basically becoming a friend to these people, like, it's so different, the perspective of the sailors looking on at him. It's like, no, he's not a creature. He's not a monster. He's just a person.
Yes, and completely this misunderstood other who is hated solely because he is that way, right? He never asked for this merciless existence for him, and he's treated this such a harsh way. And I think, honestly, for so much of the movie, he is like pretty reasonable with, his requests and the way he treats things and stuff. I really, really love his portrayal of it.
I mean, imagine waking up with no memory. And he is like an infant, right? He goes through all the stages of development and he just does it at a rapid pace, but he doesn't have memories of who he is. You'll probably know exactly what he says, but he has a line about how he has flashes of all these other men's memories.
Yes. Which, can you imagine? He probably, these are several body parts put together to make a man. These things cannot be in perfect harmony with each other. There has to be a war with, he's literally a house can be haunted. He's a haunted person.
Yeah.
There are several different spirits at work in this one body, kind of at odds with each other. And that's why he, is so contorted and struggling to move with it. And it's come together to make this one new soul, which is, I love, as a line that his brother asks him, of all the parts that made this man, which part contains the soul?
I like that bit a lot.
And I like the fact that he didn't think about that. And I love the approach of it, being a father-son story, because Victor never, ever saw this as him making a son.
Nope.
Because there's another banger line where he says,
it's all science.
He's like, I had reached the edge of the world and there was no horizon left.
Yeah.
He had not thought about what comes after creation.
I remember why I was trying to bring up Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Sorry. I lost my train of thought. I'm back. I know why I brought that up. In Hunchback, you have Frollo, who is this religious zealot, right? You have he is obsessed with religion. He falls in love with this woman he shouldn't fall in love with.
Yeah.
He has this person under his care who he doesn't look at as a person, but he also kind of looks as his son. You know what I mean?
In some ways, yeah.
In some ways. And the reason I bring up this in line with Frankenstein is because Victor is essentially Frollo in this sense, because his religion is science.
Yeah,
he devoted his entire life to this science, and he keeps this creature for only the sake of science.
Yes. It is a specimen to him, not his own.
It is an it.
Yes.
It is nothing. And he tries to teach it, and it doesn't teach the way that he wants. So he gets mad at the creature and hits the creature.
And he sees this as a failure of his own doing, right? He's like, my creation, this thing, you are making me look bad.
Yeah.
Because again, it's like his father, you were an extension of me. You were an accessory to me, not your own creature, your own person, right?
Right.
Which I adore this. And I love the fact that his whole reasoning for this was about his mother, right?
Yep.
Because his father was a doctor that helped the mother birth his brother William, right? She died in the process.
Probably killed her.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. There's a little bit of an implication he probably let her die. There's a bit about how...
I think he let her die.
Yeah, I think so too. About how his father kind of hated the two of them and their raven black hair.
He killed her.
Yeah, I think he killed her for sure. But it's always been for her. What I love, again, going back to the costumes and the design for it, everything means something. There's nothing in this movie that means nothing. Every time you see his mother, she's in completely red costumes. These gorgeous, gorgeous costumes. So they're completely red. And as soon as she dies, you notice Victor starts wearing that red scarf around his neck.
Yep.
And it's in every single costume he wears after that fact. He's got the red scarf. He's got the red gloves. There's one scene he's wearing a completely red suit. Because he carries her throughout his life with him. That's the entire reasoning for it. He wanted to beat death because of what happened to his mother. He's like, I will be better than you, my father, who was abusive to me. I will be what you weren't.
And he carries a chest freezer of his breast milk around.
And he carries milk around with him all the time. That's the thing. A lot of people get hung up on that. I'm like, it is purely a connection to the whole mommy issues.
In my mind, when his mom died is the day he stopped developing, and he stayed a child for the rest of his life.
He can't move on from that
till the day he died.
And Oscar Isaac does such a good job at playing evil in the sense of his certainty. It's not a matter of I think this is the way things should be. This is the way things should be. How certain he is that the future is what he's working on with these creations and imbuing them with life, beating death. This is what he is. Yeah. And so everything is an absolute certainty for him. And I really adore everything about his rendition of it.
Yeah. Yeah. I may have said some negatives at the beginning, but there's negatives about every movie. And everything it's perception, right? Yeah. Ultimately, Frankenstein 2025, Guillermo del Toro. Wow, I fucked that up. Is just an absolute riot, and I I would watch it again and again and again. And I hope that you take the time out of your life to watch it again. If you have watched it once, maybe you didn't have the greatest feelings after the first watch, just watch it again. Not every movie's like that. I really don't think so. This movie deserves the time.
Because I remember saying there was a movie that I had watched and I was sitting here kind of hemming and hawing about like what I wanted like my review of it to be. I'm like, I really do feel like a movie should like immediately hit you. Yep. And like I guess that's how I feel for like 5-star movies specifically. I'm like, if I don't immediately walk out of the theater being like 5 stars right away, then I'm like, I don't think it deserves that, right? However, I do think this is one that definitely like deserves to be revisited like a couple times. There's more to find every time I watch it.
So much packed into maybe that's why I'm so hung up on wanting more, because I was so tired of trying to find it all in one viewing. Yeah. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I wanted more so that I didn't have to focus as hard. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, like I enjoyed watching it again. Mm-hmm. I make a habit of playing games while I watch movies. Yeah. I was like, I've seen it before. I can play a game on my 3 minutes in, I put it down and I was glued to the TV.
It's hard not to, right?
Which is a great sign for the movie.
Yes.
That on a second viewing, I still didn't play.
But I know it has deviated so far from the book in a couple of different ways. I do really stand true to the fact that I do think it hits and amplifies a lot of the really important emotional beats and what comes through in the story of Frankenstein. While it is different, that does not mean it is worse because of it. And I love a lot of the changes that came through with it.
But it's like every single, and we're coming to a close here, but every single detail of the movie matters. Yeah. Like even, I pointed this, I knew something you didn't know, which was fantastic. I was, when Victor goes to what's-his-face's house to drink milk. No.
He comes there just to drink milk.
Harlander calls Victor over, right? To like propose him an idea.
You did note this, and that's only because of your cook brain.
He gives him glasses of milk throughout, and then when they sit down to eat, they're eating panna cotta, which is fucking gelatinized milk. So he
even in the details, multiple forms of milk. He clocked that so fast that he likes milk.
Anyway, from me, I don't know if you have anything else to say. I think
the problem is I have too much to say. We could go on for hours and hours.
We'll cut it here. I think we've outstayed our welcome.
Yeah, and there's also there's a high likelihood I might even end up doing a Monster-ific about Frankenstein just this. I could and would go into great lengths about every single detail about things. But I think it is a stupendous movie.
From me, you've got 5 glasses of milk up.
Yeah.
For this movie,
truly, me, I got five cadavers laid out amongst a laboratory. God, the sequences, it's so good.
Oh, that sequence is amazing with the fucking him putting together the creature.
Yes.
It's so visceral.
Well, what I love about this, to get just a little more something about it, he talks about how like a lot of people, when they approach that scene, they come from a big horror angle. It's this big scary thing. He's putting together these body parts and it's gruesome and stuff. There's a waltz behind it. Did you notice the music behind it? The music is another fantastic moment of this. But yeah, it's like, it's what he's built his entire life up towards. Is like this moment. He's excited. It's kind of a giddy moment. It's this beautiful dance. It's a ballet of him putting together these parts and like putting them together and like getting to do this. It's all been about, right? Yeah. So like, I love the fact that it's not like, well, it is. I think personally, it's kind of gruesome to watch him like put this bone into this socket and screw that in, or like tear this leg off of the body. Like it's tough to watch for sure.
It is.
But I do think it is still beautiful. It is like a ballet, and that's the thing. It is. To kind of wrap it all up here, Guillermo del Toro's talked so much about it's like it's an orchestra. He does not see all of the departments, from like the makeup to the set design to the wardrobe to the directing. He does not see them as separate entities. He sees them as a table. Yeah. He calls them like 4 legs of one table.
I heard him say that.
And I love that. Like all of these come together and work so well together. Like this orchestra he is conducting to put all of these things and to make one cohesive story that just like it comes through so beautifully. Everybody works so well together that like no details are missed. Yep. And it's just, it's a masterpiece. I really love it. It's pure artistry on form, handcrafted with so much love and connection. Like it's just like, I couldn't have asked for a better like time.
No, absolutely.
I truly like, whatever you might feel about this is like my like definitive Frankenstein adaptation. I don't need another one after this.
Absolutely. I do agree with there.
Because I think it's like for me personally, I love Nosferatu. I think it was really, really great. It's not Dracula technically, right? Yeah. I think the Gary Oldman, Bram Stoker's Dracula, the Coppola one, I think that's like one of our like definitive Dracula movies, right? And Guillermo's even talked about that because people are like, Guillermo, you've done this classic horror story. Will you do Dracula now? And he straight up was like, I don't really have an affinity for Dracula. Yeah. And we have one that's great anyway. I think we're fine without it.
I appreciate that, yeah.
And so yeah, that's why I really love like this is my Joker. This is my Frankenstein.
Well, definitely go check it out. Form your own opinion, as my Karsten Runquist always says. I like it when he says that. Go check it out. Form your own opinion.
Don't let us tell you what to think about it. Like
opinions are subjective.
Think what you think.
We're big fans over here, and go check out our other episodes. Check out Isaac's episode of Monsterific that released last week, or a couple weeks ago now when this airs. And check out Frankenstein. Let us know what you think.
Absolutely.
Tell us how we're wrong. Tell us how we're right.
Yeah.
And we'll be back next time.
We'll be back next time with more horror content. So thank you for viewing. As always, Garfield be with you. Stay spooky.
Goodbye.